Happy New Year as SportsCenter continues here from Arlington, Texas, AT&T Stadium, where tonight the buses are heading back to T-Town, and it is a happy bunch of Crimson Tide players and coaches. The man who's in charge of that program, kind enough to stop by and say hello before he leaves. Nick, appreciate the time. Happy New Year.
Same to you, man. Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Obviously, the folks in T-Town are thrilled. Tom Rinaldi tried to get a smile out of you. I'm not trying to do that. I just want to know what's the most satisfying. We got one. What's the most satisfying thing about tonight?
I love this team. I really do. This team has really made a commitment since the Ole Miss game and sort of been an elimination game ever since we lost that game early in the season. And the guys have just bought in and done everything we've asked them to do, including the way they prepared for this game and the way they focused on trying to make a statement in this game based on what they had experienced last year when we didn't play the way we'd like to in the game. So it's just, when you have a group of players like that, you really feel like they're close. Everybody trusts and depends on each other. And you just love coaching them, and you love trying to get them ready, and you really want to do it for them. And that's why this is so much fun.
Have you played any better than this year? I can't think of it.
Well, we played a pretty good game tonight. We really did. But we sort of matched up well with their team. I think every team that you play is a little different. So how we're going to match up with Clemson, the way they sort of ran the ball effectively with the quarterback runs against Oklahoma today, will be, another challenge for us.
As you prepared for this and what Michigan State does, I said earlier, I think to Kirk Herbstreit, that there's a bit of looking in the mirror. They're good on the lines. They're rugged and tough. And I just, as you prepared, the concerns were what? What was the most pressing worry, if that's the right word?
The number one thing is could we run the ball against their front by the way they play defense, because they're very aggressive. They got a very good front. So we knew we'd have to throw the ball effectively. Jake did a really good job of that. We had a tremendous amount of respect for their quarterback and their ability to make plays down the field, and how our front would be able to affect the quarterback in the game would be a big part of our success. And I think our front did that today. They pushed the pocket well and pressured them and affected them a little.
Jake's waited a long time for a night like tonight. As his coach, what does it mean for you to see him perform the way he did on this stage?
Well, I'm really happy for the guy. I mean, he's done an outstanding job for us all season long. I think he has a tremendous amount of respect from the players on the team who elected him captain. But I think it starts with his toughness, his competitive spirit, and the confidence that they have him to do what we need him to do to be successful. And he's never complained when we didn't throw the ball much, but when we've had to throw the ball, he's always come through for us.
When did you know that this team might have a chance? I mean, you lose to Ole Miss, and then it's, as you say, you can't afford any more wobbles. When did you know that they might become what they are becoming?
I think after the bye week, when we played LSU. And I think from that point on, I said, we got something here. We might be able to accomplish something here.
I know that you give yourself 24 hours, and you ought to. I'd suggest it ought to be a little longer than that, but it's not my program, obviously.
Hey, first thing Miss Terry said to me when I went up to her after the game was, "No days off for you." I mean,
she didn't give you one day.
Some wives would say, are you going to get a day off now?
No.
She said, "No days off for you.
Well,
you need to go to work on Clemson."
Okay. And when you go to work on Clemson, where do you start?
Well, I always start with their offense, but everybody does it a little different.
Well, I'm not asking your game plan. I'm just, when you look at, that's a pretty impressive football team. They haven't lost a game.
Very impressive, very impressive. I mean, they're 14-0 now, and I thought Oklahoma had a fabulous team. I mean, I was really impressed with Oklahoma, and for them to, I didn't see the game obviously, but for them to handle Oklahoma like that's very impressive.
I'm always interested in that. When you go back into it, is it? Do you even look at September and October? Does that even matter when you analyze a team? Are you looking at every single snap? I always wonder about that for a game like this.
No, basically what we do is we take 4 or 5 games to try to get the tendencies.
Right.
And then we just have someone go through the other games for anything that's different. Like if there was a different trick play, or if they played a different defense or had a different pressure or whatever. So you kind of get the basics from those 4 or 5 games and the tendencies, but then now, okay, what are some of the other things that they did in other games that were different than that?
Okay. And I'm not, I have too much respect to try to ask the grand questions about what this all means, because I know you don't think about it in the moment. But as these keep piling up, I mean, what's the level of appreciation for just another one, another shot for another one, for a fan base that's ravenous for titles?
You know, but you said it right. It's all in the moment. It's all this team and this team's opportunity to do something special, and how you try to work for them. And you don't really think about any of the rest of it. And you're always thinking forward in terms of, you know, what do you need to have a good team next year, and who do we need to recruit, and who do we need to replace, and who's going to go out for the draft. And, you know, so it's ongoing. That you can never let your guard down, or never have sort of a focus on the future of your program and your team, or you'll slip.
It's not Miss Terry that's eyeballing me, but there's a guy that's got one of those hats on, and he's a policeman. I think it's time to go, and I don't assume the buses will leave without you, but you've been kind with your time. I know it's time to go. Thank you so much, Nick.
He has his own police car. I'll just ride with him.
I see that, and they said it's time to go, so I appreciate the time. And, yeah, he can obviously stop traffic, but congratulations on the win. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Scott.
You
appreciate you.
That's Nick Saban of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and they shut out Michigan State tonight 38-0. They will play Clemson